Alright, as was discussed in our previous video, today we're going to be looking at reinforcing the remainder of the structure. We had already discussed that we'd be reinforcing these two spaces, the kitchen and the washroom as one area, the garage as one, and the master bathroom as another. To do that, let us first start by obtaining some basic dimensions for the room, because this will impact out the length of our over support bars. So let's go annotate and let's have a look at the length of the washroom rather, kitchen, the width of the kitchen, width of the washroom, the width for the garage, the length of the garage. Let's put that up here, and the master bathroom is by there we go. Alright, so we have the basic dimensions for all the spaces. Let's now go ahead and do an offset of 50 millimeters, and this will help with our dimensioning. So let's do an offset of 50 in from that and 50 out. Let's go get line 50 on that side. You see, we're basically doing an offset on all the sides of the wall that the concrete will basically be. Let's put one on the inside. Oops, that's in pieces, still in pieces. Let's get that. Let's get that one going. This one in, out. This side there is only in, no need to be offsetting any on the other side of that. One on that side. Let's see if we could find this one in here. Where are we now? Washroom, that side, and that side. Outside, inside. This is gonna be a double line here. Want that one. This one here. This one here. This one over here. Let's put this one. Oh, that's a double piece in here, as well as in here. I think we have them all. Alright, in terms of the kitchen and the washroom, I'm gonna start by going to my reinforcement. Remember, we had created a layer for our reinforcing bars. Here it is. Alright, so I'm gonna be first putting in my main bar, which again spans the short distance. So these main bars will be laid 6 inches apart, starting from somewhere over here, 6 inches apart all the way to the other side. Alright, and the distributing bar for that side as well. Let's find a central point and span that across the space. We're going to be changing the color of that in a short while, but this is the main bar, the distributing bar rather, serving for the washroom and the kitchen. In terms of the garage, the main bars, again, let's start by putting the main bar center the space right there. So that will be our main bar, and our distributing bar again will run from that side to that side. So there again we have our main bar running north to south, and our distributing bar running west to east. For the washroom, for the master bathroom, here we would have had our main bar, and again our distributing bars running like that. Let's do some change in colors. And since we already have the previous one, we could do match properties to transfer the properties from one to the other. So we'll match our distributing bar, which is the green bar here, and let's paint that. Distributing, distributing, distributing. We let the main bars remain in red, and we would now be tasked with the over support bar. But from our previous video, we had discussed that the bars should actually travel across or over. It should be terminated perhaps mid walls. So let's do an extension on those so they protrude onto the walls. Onto the wall. It is important that the ortho mode be on so as to ensure that the lines are extended in a straight line. Alright, so I'm extending my bars so because the reality is that these bars are expected to be bent down at least 4 inches down into the belt beam, really. So I'm extending them so that they can be bent downwards. Alright, it's a little bit tedious, but it's the process. Alright, turn that over. My personal style, however, is also to show an amount of bend, usually about 100 millimeters, 4 inches, and we would be putting that on all bars. So actually, since the bars will be bent, normally I represent my bend by putting some bends. We're going to be painting that shortly. Alright, so I have a match property in that, so I'm not concerned with the fact that it is red just now, as I'm going to be changing it in a short while. So let's put a 100 on that, and all our bars I'm putting basically a 100 millimeter bends on all my bars. Here we go, 100 millimeters. Let's see which direction was that one, because I like to have them bent in the same direction. I don't like one bent to the left, the other bending to the right. Looks more appropriate with them all being bent on the same side. Alright, there we go. I'm trying to get them all 100 millimeters. See, I want for this to be a complete roof structure, so I'm trying to get them all 100. Alright, now we can do a match properties of the mismatched one. For example, here we have them in red and green. Let's just paint that to be green. The other one on this side, let's also paint that to be green. Since I'm on green, let me just deal with all the green ones. Then I'll just do the, oh, it's just green and red for now. I missed that one. There we go. Alright, so my main and distributing bars would now have been placed in. The next bar we said we wanted to put in would have been our over support bars, and remember the over support bars spans 1/3 the distance. The width of this room is 2,800. 1/3 of that would be about 930. We'll work with 930. So it would run from here to the wall, and then we stretch that, if you remember, the additional 930 millimeters on the inside. Another one is going to be drawn on this side, so let's start it perhaps about here. We get to here, and again we'll stretch that 930 millimeters. Alright. The over support on this side, let me start by drawing it from one of these lines, perhaps this one to this one. Yes, oh, not that one, it would be this one to width of the wall. Alright. This room is 4,200 millimeters, 14 feet. 1/3 of that would be 1,400, so let's stretch that 1,400 millimeters. That's that over support bar. Since that one is on that side, I would move this one and put it into this quadrant, and perhaps shift this down a little bit. Alright, I'll also move this one in a little bit, giving me space to put another one perhaps over here. Alright, so let's go again for line, and I will draw it perhaps here. Distance, an extension of 1,400, so let us stretch that 1,400 millimeters. Could be moved down a little bit, so let's just get that perhaps around here. Alright, so the kitchen is good. In terms of the mass, in terms of the wash area, then the over support needs to be extended 1,000, because the size of that room is 3,000, so we would have extended into that 1,000. From the left as well, over support bar, let's get from this to this, release that, and extend it the additional 1,000. That's the over support there. We would have over support spanning this wall as well, so let's get that little piece, and it would go into that room. Now let's check the width of that room, 2,112. Let's go with 700. Enter. But the same over support bar would run into the garage, 3,750. 1/3 of that would be 1,250. 1,250. All right, that one. From the right side, let's get that to measure from, and let us move it into a clear area, say here. The width of the garage, I think I had put that up top, 5,400. Now 1/3 of that would be 1,450. Let's go with 1,450. That couldn't be. 1/3 of that is 1 into that, 3 into that goes 1. We made the 2, 1,800. 1,800. So that has to be stretched in 1,800. So let's go with 1,800. Alright, that's the length of that over support. From the right side of the garage, again there is need for an over support. Let's put it here, and let's stretch it an additional 1,800. That's the over support on that side, and there is one for to cross over on this wall here. And again, let us start by drawing that little piece here, moving it into a clearer area, say perhaps about here, and it needs an extension into this room 3100. Let's go with 1030. Let's go 1030, approximately 1/3, and into the garage it's going to be the same, 1250, 1250, which is 1/3 distance here. All right, copy that. All right, and to finish things off, we are at master bathroom. We need an over support which runs from the cantilever inwards. The width of that room was 2850, has an extension of 1250. Enter. How much was it? No, it's an extension of 950. So let's do that again. This one is going to be 950. 950. That's what that should be. Alright, let's escape that. One more on the right side. Let's start that. Say here, an extension of 950. Alright, and one final one from down here. Let's start my line, say here, and let's get to here. And we want that an extension of 1030. Let's extend that 1030. Now we would have had all our bars being represented. But again, I would want to be placing ends. This time I'm going to be copying this one, pasting it on that, pasting it on that, pasting it on that, pasting it on that one as well, and pasting all the vertical ones. Alright, these are just so as to put bends on my bars. So I'm putting my bends on my over support bars. Alright, I'm placing my bends on my over support bars. Now for the horizontal ones, let's place one here, let's place one here, one on that, and that, and that, and that, and that, and that. Then, based on our previous drawing, our over support bars were represented yellow. So again, I'm going to do a match properties, and I'm going to be painting my over support bars yellow, as well as with a hidden detail feature. Alright, so I'm now capturing all my over support bars. Painting. Here is another one, and another one, and another one, another one, and my final over support. Now I have my building again totally reinforced. All my main bars, distributing bars, and over support bars have now been represented. Now for clarity, I'm just going to be removing my dimension lines because these are really no longer required here. So let me just remove my dimension line. So there we have the roof plan being displayed. As usual again, the walls underneath would be hidden detail, but since we already have this one set up, I'm just going to do a match properties, and I'm going to be painting my walls. Alright, which would have been the middle one. The outer ones were just offset. Those will be removed in a short while because but we need those for labeling purposes. So until the labeling is finished, we would keep those lines until then. This one here, there we go. There's two more over here. Let's get this one, and let's get this one, and that one, this one, remembering that it's the internal ones that we're trying to get at. Alright, so it's going to be that one, didn't offset that one, but I'm certain that's going to be one, that's one, and finally this one. So now I have gotten all my walls in hidden detail. The only thing that would now be left is to dimension or label up this roof reinforcement plan. Alright, when it's done, basically each room should have main bars, distributing bars, and 4 over support bars per space. So if you check, you would realize that each room would have had 4 over support bar, except for this room because these over support bars will span the entire width of this wall here. Sorry. To label up, we'll go back to our text layer. Let's bring up my text layer, and again from the previous video we would have drawn a line to capture this line is intended to capture all my over support bars on that side, and again we would clean up this end here. Since we already have all the labels already done for this one, then it would save time if we were just to copy these off. So I'm going to be copying my over support label, and I'm just going to be pasting it there because over support in one respect is the same in another. And also I'm going to be copying just one of my donuts to mark my reinforcement. So since I'm referring to my over support, I paste that on the over support right there. Alright, so the over support on this side have now been labeled. Let me also put another line, perhaps somewhere here, and let me stop that there and clean up this here. Alright, again I'm going to be capturing my over support bar, so let me copy, and I'm going to be copying my donut, holding it center, and I'm going to be pasting it on this over support bar. I could choose to put my labeling down here or up here. I think I'm going to go with the top. Now since again that's over support, let me copy this label, push it up to perhaps about that distance, and move it inwards and point my arrow. That. Yeah, we would have had that. Alright. In the same breath, line, and I would want a line traveling right between here. Let me line that up. Let's take that perhaps let's take it here, and I'm going across, perhaps here. Again, let's clean this end up a bit, get that neatly terminated here. I want for that to be labeling my main bar. Alright, so again, copy, do not enter, holding it there, and I'm going to be labeling my main bar. Alright, I refer to my previous drawing, and I'm going to be copying my main bar label. I'm going to be holding it here at the point. I place it at the point here, and I would rather the text being on the outside. So I drag that back out to about that. I'm not seeing my arrow, which means my text is too close. So let me pull away a little bit more until my arrowhead appears. Alright. In the same breath, we could now be capturing all our remaining bars. So again, if we use our cursor, we could see bars that would be in a line. So we could run a bar, we could run a label. For example, we could run a label perhaps here. Let's terminate that here. And again, that could be used, my machine is, that could be used to capture all the over support bars running across that. So let me clean this up a bit. Let me clean that up a little bit, and I'm going to be capturing my over support bars again. So let me get a donut, and any over support bars captured along that line would be marked. So that one is captured. There'll be another one here, and let me copy. I'm going to be copying that text, holding it point, and I'm going to be labeling at this one. Alright, so again, I have all my over support bars along there captured. My distributing bar here, however, is still not called up. So let me put a line perhaps between here to say here, to mark or to label my over support bars. I think I'm going to be placing this one at the base. There's a lot of space there. Alright, again, let me find a distributing label. Here it is. Let's copy that. Let's hold it at point, and could it hold here without interfering with that? No. Let's put it down here then. Alright, hold that and pull that outwards. My distributing bar is labeled, so let me put a donut to indicate that I'm actually referring to this bar right there. Still a lot more labels to be done. Over support bar, this one still not labeled yet. Let me just put a line across, terminate that here, and clean up this end here. And I perhaps would want to add a leader. Perhaps would want to add a leader to this one. So let's select that and add a leader. Add a leader, and I'm going to add a leader here, and we could just push this over a little bit. Let's pull this over to line up. Alright, let's turn my snap off and pull this over a little bit, and then now we could stretch this over till that appears back straight. There we go. Alright, so that's what that would be. If we also extend this one, it's going to push that out of whack. If we pull this one, it's going to pull that out of whack. Alright, let's leave that there. Let's leave that there. Alright, so we need a donut to be placed on this over support. Oh, my snap is off. Hold it centered. My machine is jumping all over the place. Alright, so we have the over support captured on that side. You won't always be able to capture every bar, but as long as most of the bars are represented, we should be good. Alright. I need to label these over support bars on this side up to perhaps this point here. Alright. So again, let me terminate this properly, and I'm going to be copying an over support label. Let's again borrow this one. Let's copy that and paste it here. Release, and let's take that off the text right there. Well, it has it still has this additional leader, so let's remove that. Alright, we need a donut now to mark my over support bars. One on that one. Are there others? Yes, here's another one. My over support bars there again have been called up. We have to leave space because we still have not called up our distributing bars here. So I think I'm going to be flipping this. No. Alrighty. I think I'm going to be labeling those. So I'm going to be drawing my line through here up to this point here. I'm going to be terminating that. Oops, picked a little too much. That's alright. I'm going to be labeling my distributing bar. Did I copy a distributing label? I think I did. Here it is. So let's copy that again. Hold it at point and place at point. It runs across the wall there. Let's just stretch it. Okay. Stretch it away from the wall a little bit. Alright, and I'm going to be labeling my distributing bars. Let's copy a donut, hold it at center, and I'm going to be pasting it on my greens. Distributing bars have been labeled. We could also pick up this distributing with the same label. So let's see if we could trick the system a little bit and put it right there. So we could now put a bar across the here. Right? I'd probably terminate that maybe here. Right? And I'm going to be adding a leader. I'm going to be adding a leader to that point. Sort of that. Alright. So I could use that to label in both directions. When we label that sort of way, it creates space and the drawing is less cluttered. Alright, because there is less text. As opposed to labeling twice, we let the one label represent both. Alright, my main bar here still have not been called up, nor my main bar here have still not been represented. I'm going to do that labeling on the outside out here. Alright, so let me terminate that there, and also clean this up a bit. Alright, I'm going to be labeling my main bar. I think I have a main bar I had already copied. Here it is. So let's just copy this main bar text, copy that one, and I'm going to be pasting it at the end of this one. Alright, my main bar is this one here, so I'm going to be placing a donut at that area. Alright, donut is placed there. Oops, donut is placed at the wrong spot. It's that one, and let's remove this one. Got it. Alright, all the bars, or most of the bars in this area have been represented. We did not call out any of these horizontal over support bar. Let's put one across here. As long as there is a space, you know, we could continue labeling as long as the drawing is not made too cluttered. Alright, I'm going to be calling out this over support bar. So let me copy my over support label. Do I have any close by? Over support. Oh, here's one. Over support. Let's hold it at point. And I'm going to be using that to label this one. Is it? Yes. This one. Machine freeze again. It's back. Alright, so let's put the text on the outside. Here's my arrow. Good to go. And I'm going to be placing my donut. I'm placing my donut to mark my bar. Alright, and that seems pretty well labeled, pretty much well reinforced. Our extension architecture ticks are next to be placed in. So let me go ahead and copy this one. And if we remember, let me turn off my auto. So this dimension line is calling up my over support. Over support must only be on the inside of the space. So I would start my first one here, and I would stop again here. I would start again on this side, and I would stop at this one. Alright. My next line is calling up my over support bar again. Again, there's no need for over support on the outside. Inside, 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 inside. Next one is calling up my distributing. So again, I'm inside, inside, inside a room, inside a room, and it's a distributing. So I'm now going out on the cantilever, and I'm stopping here. Again, over support, so it's in only, in. My next one is distributing, so it's gonna be in, out, out. And my final one is over support again, so it's gonna be in, in. I have all of those in that direction. Let's put the ones on the horizontal ones. Let's copy that. Now again, I'm referring to my over support, so it's only gonna be in, 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 and in. Alright. I'm now referring to my main bars, so it's going to be out, out, in, 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 inside, outside, and outside. So the over support bars are really the only ones confined to the inside only. Alright, inside, inside, outside, outside. Anymore over support, so it's only going to be inside, inside. Distributing, so it's going to be in, out, out. And we didn't put a label for this one, but we could. Alright. And the final thing to do now is to clean it up. We will now delete all the lines we had offset. We had only put them so as to put our dimension markers, alright, or our architecture ticks. So with those in, we now go back through and we can now remove those lines. Come on. Alright. I'm selecting all those lines because they're no longer needed really. All the lines we had offset. I'm now being careful to remove those. Come on. There's one. There's one. I want to show you the final picture. What it looks like when complete. That's gone. That's gone. That's gone. Another. Here is another. Come on, silly computer. That's another one. I think I have them on. Missed one. You're going. I think I have them all. And that's what the complete reinforcement plan would be for that structure. Alright, let's move both of them a little bit closer. There are more bars that could be labeled. This by no means means we have exhausted the labeling, because like I said earlier on, we could put another dimension line across here to capture our over support bar here. We could put another one perhaps across here, and this would be a good one to put. We could put one right across here, running through here, capturing these two, and we could put this labeling somewhere out here or over here. Alright, so it doesn't mean that the labeling would have been exhausted. There is also the need for a footer, alright, and that would have completed your roof framing plan. That's it for now in terms of roof reinforcement. Please join again later for our next tutorial.